Ryan is literally in the bathroom in the hotel room and he's hanging onto the edge of the counter and he's bending down and then catapulting himself up to the mirror. And I was like, go to bed. And you're like, yeah, probably a good idea. Then you went to go to sleep, or so I thought. I'm washing my face. All of a sudden I hear, you know what? Cooper's going to protect Riley when he's older.
You're listening to the Laughing Couple podcast with your hosts, Brittany and Ryan Ostafy. Join them weekly as they discuss topics such as relationships, kids, sex, parenting, all unfiltered and all with a healthy dose of laughter. Please welcome your hosts, Brittany and Ryan Ostafy.
Check. 1 sibilance.
Listen, I don't want you to be a DJ. You didn't come back and we didn't get to sing at the wedding. So I have PTSD of you being fun on a microphone.
So you don't want me to be fun on a microphone?
No, I want you to be boring right now so it doesn't bring me back to the moment.
All right.
Just kidding. Okay.
Let's start the podcast then.
Okay.
Starting. On a very boring note. Hello.
All right. I got to tell you a story.
Oh, please, Brittany, tell me the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, so last night I went to a workout class with Holly, our neighbor. And then after the workout class, we went to go pick up her son who was seeing a hockey game at the arena. We go pull up and there's a whole bunch of kids like outside already. Like I would say up to grade 8, maybe high school. And it's just like a big crowd. And there's one adult. He's probably 50 something and he's smoking in the corner. So we pull up and we pick up her son and his friend, okay, who are in grade 5. And as we're kind of driving away, we see 2 of the older boys start like getting in each other's face. But it was like, okay, like we didn't know if they were actually fighting or they're just being boys. And then they start like actually fighting and like swinging. And before this happened, Holly's son had told them that there was an older boy that was like beating on them in the elevator, like a grade 8. They were like Jake was like, oh, I was just playing around in the elevator. Like we were going up and down the floors. And then this grade 8 came in and started like literally like beating Cameron up. Like, and Cameron was like, stop, like his friend. So Holly was like, well, who is it? And he's like, well, he's over there. And as Jake is telling us this, we see this fight break out. Doesn't Holly stop in the middle of the parking lot? First of all, she puts it in neutral and tries to get out of the car. So we start rolling away. We were like, Holly, stop it. So she came back in, puts it in park, goes out there. I'm staring out the back window and Jake and Cameron are like looking. I'm like, be quiet. I'm trying to hear your mom. All I hear is Holly being like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? There are children out here and you're fighting, like, grow the fuck up. As she's like, there's small children here. And she's like throwing all these F-bombs. I was crying. And then as she's leaving, she's like, and don't be a fucking asshole in the elevators. And then came back. She was like, did you hear me? I was yelling at them. And I was like, yeah, we heard you. She's like, did I do the right thing? I'm like, absolutely.
Hardcore Holly. I love Holly.
I was laughing so hard. And
Holly is one of my favorite human beings on the planet because Holly don't give a shit.
No, and she was right. Like nobody else was saying anything. And these 2 older kids are like literally, there's so many kids out and they're all just watching. And there's a parent out who was like this is the action that he's getting for the week. He didn't say shit. And so I was proud of Holly that she like got out and said something. And then she comes back. She was making me laugh. She was like, that's fucking kids. There were small kids everywhere. And I was like, I know. She's like, did I do the right thing?
You could have turned down the swearing a little bit in front of those little kids.
I loved it.
That's the joke.
Yeah.
It's like,
I know. That was why it was funny.
She's mad at these kids for fighting in front of little children while she says, stop being fucking idiots.
Yeah, I was
It's kind of ironic in that sense. I actually thought you were going to tell a different story about being in the back of a van.
What?
Where you were peeing.
We don't have to talk about that.
Why don't we share that story with people if they would have missed it on your Instagram? Because you told me that story, and I'll be honest, we were in a fight when you told me that story. So
you said it wasn't a fight. You said
well,
we're not in a fight. And
no, that's true. That's true. We were in a disagreement.
Yeah.
We were parting the Red Sea. I was on one side, you were on the other, and there was no communication in between.
Right.
You came back with a very funny story because of what I do appreciate about our relationship is even when we're not talking to each other, we still find humor in humor.
Yeah.
and you had to share that
Like I
humor with
couldn't
me.
not tell you.
So let's tell the pee story.
Well, it's already on TikTok. Like
well,
if you really want
it is, but yeah, let's share. Not everyone follows you on TikTok, there, sweetheart. Some people don't have that app.
Out there. Okay. I was in Waterloo and I was in a Zoom meeting in my car and I just left my friend's clinic. And in the Zoom meeting, I said to myself, you really have to pee. So after this Zoom meeting, make sure you go inside and pee before you drive home because it's a 40-minute drive home and traffic is unpredictable. So I forgot. So as I'm driving on the highway, I'm clenching my vagina. Like I've never had to pee more in my whole life. I drank an entire Stanley and 2 coffees. Okay. Like I'm playing with fire. So then I'm driving on the highway and I'm like, ooh, should I get off on Homer Watson? Like I can go pee at McDonald's. But I was like, no, fuck it. You can make it. I did not make it. I got off and on Trustler, there's nothing but farmlands because I was being ridiculed in the comments. Like, why did you do this? Why would you just like stop at a McDonald's or something? And I'm like, because there wasn't one. So I pulled up to this abandoned church and there's nobody there. And so I was like, I do have an empty coffee cup here and I don't want to pee on the.
You also had a Stanley.
I'm not going to pee in my Stanley. Why would I pee in my Stanley?
Because I don't think people realize when they pee in a toilet how much pee they actually have.
But then people were.
If you ever stop your pee at the very end, and this happens, if you ever stop your pee at the very end and you think you're done and you pull up your pants and you have a little dribble left and you realize, holy shit, I just pissed my pants.
Yes.
You realize that was just a little dribble.
Yeah.
That whole stream, that's a lot of piss. So go ahead, Miss Coffee Cup versus Stanley, because I would have gone with the Stanley.
No, I'm not peeing in my Stanley. It's like I have to drink out of that again.
Yeah.
So anyways, I took my coffee cup, which was a very large medium, and I went into the back of the trunk and I peed in the coffee cup. And everyone on TikTok is like, why the fuck wouldn't you just go pee like behind the church on the ground? I'm like, I'm not peeing. There's a cemetery there. I'm not peeing on these poor dead people. Like that's rude. I don't want to be like, condemned. So I didn't. I peed in the coffee cup. So
can I just stop you for 1 second? The amount of people that commented that you should have just peed in the cemetery. Could you imagine the amount of people that would have commented if you peed in the cemetery?
Right?
Oh my God.
I know. I would have been like, no. So
cancel that, bitch.
I went to the back and I peed in the trunk. And as I'm peeing, I see another car pull up in this parking lot.
The power of Christ compels you.
And I'm like, okay, whatever. It's a very odd place to park. People sometimes turn around in this location just because it's like a weird space that people do use to turn around. And so he comes in and I'm peeing and the van doors are tinted in the back. So I'm like, everything's fine. I'm finishing up. And he parks his car and starts to get out of his car. And he gets out of his car and starts walking to the van. And I'm like, the fuck is, first of all, beyond me being freaking out because I think that he's going to see me peeing, why are you walking to my car? Like I was also scared because I'm like, am I going to be murdered as I'm peeing?
With
like,
your pants
is this
down.
A Dateline episode?
Yeah. We found her with her pants down.
He came and he started walking and he goes to the driver's side looking for the driver. And I make eye contact with him through the back of the van. My pants were already up, but because I was so frantic, I spilled the fucking pee.
This is gross.
Only a little.
Is the Lamborghini's?
No, only a little. And then he left because he was clearly traumatized. So he got back in his car and left. And then I opened the trunk and, came out, poured my pee out. Not on the graves, not on the, just on like the driveway.
Just on the concrete.
Yeah. And I broke away. And when I got home, I filled the toilet. Like I could have peed, like you said, another 2, but I wasn't going to waste my Stanley. I don't care. I'd rather piss my pants than pee in my own Stanley.
Well, that's a mistake. You learned that mistake. But I just kept picturing this guy because I pictured me being this guy approaching this woman who got off the side of the road, jumped into the back of her own van, pulled her pants down. I would totally think that you were masturbating.
No, but he didn't see me do any of that.
There's no way that my mind wouldn't be like, oh my God.
He didn't.
That girl's masturbating in the back of her truck.
Because he didn't see me do any of that. I was already peeing in the back when he came in. He didn't see me get out of my car.
There was a teacher in my old school.
Well, you're like, I'm not acknowledging what you're saying.
There was a teacher in my old school that we had a mechanic shop. One of the classes that our school taught was a mechanic shop. Mm-hmm. And so this teacher brought her car in to get serviced by the guys.
You told me this.
And she had a Pringle container, Pringle chips. For those of you who don't know what Pringles are, they're in a nice cylinder container. She had a Pringle box. And so a bunch of guys who were fixing her car saw a bunch of Pringle box. And let's be honest, if you're an 18-year-old kid, you're going to eat some Pringles, right? So these kids open up the Pringles and found a dildo in it. And apparently she has not a problem, but she's a raging masturbator. She likes to masturbate.
Pringle,
it's her
penisal.
I don't know what it's called. There's
sex
a term.
Addict, like a
There's a nympho. She's a nymphomaniac, and she goes in between breaks and masturbates in her car.
What the
this
fuck?
was
okay?
This was a big thing.
Hold on. Is that something that you guys as 18-year-old boys just made up? Or was this like...
That could be true.
Because realistically, how the fuck would you know that? Like, was she like, oh my God, you found my Pringle dick? Actually, guys, I have a problem. I am actually a raging masturbator. Like, I don't think you would have access to that information. I bet you one of your friends was like, oh, she's probably a sex addict. And then everyone on MySpace was like, absolutely.
Well, first of all, I'm a little older than you, so it wasn't on MySpace. It was on ICQ and maybe potentially bled into MSN. But
there's no way you guys had privy to that information.
It wasn't until this moment that I thought that story could be fake.
Like, there's no way she would have been like, well, I'm really embarrassed, but now that you found it, I'll tell you about it.
I'm wondering how we came to the conclusion that she was a nympho. Maybe because we just assumed she had a dildo.
You made it up. And like, it could be something as simple as she went to like a bachelorette party and then it was in her like a grab bag. And then she was like, fuck. And then she was like, I don't want this to be here. She put it in the Pringle. And now there's a story 20 years later that she's a raging masturbator.
In my head, the way that I saw this is that she got caught, had to go to the principal and had to explain her situation.
And then the principal told you guys?
Yeah, but now that I think about it, that obviously didn't happen.
Come in, guys. You found it, so you deserve to know.
Gentlemen.
Gather around.
We're going to discuss the Pringles. So here's the situation. Your teacher
we'll put it in the newsletter in the school just because I think everyone needs to know.
Would that end up in the blue book? No,
that's like a personal thing that doesn't like what she does outside of school. That doesn't affect.
Well, that was during school. Apparently,
she wasn't masturbating in the car while they were fixing her car.
Yes,
she had something in her car.
Yes.
When I used to supply, I used to find bottles of alcohol in the teachers' drawers. When I would supply for this one school drama teacher in the portable, I was looking for, I don't even know what it was. And like huge 40 of vodka. I'm like, is this a prop? It wasn't. I smelt it.
That's a problem.
Yeah, it was.
That's
a
problem.
Bad.
You know what else is a problem? Lice. Lice is a problem.
I'm itchy just thinking about it.
Let me tell you.
God.
There are things about lice that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I now know because my 5-year-old son came home with it.
I never thought that. I don't know why I thought we would just leave this year or the school year unscathed, but like I had to write the email of shame. But I will say, we had just talked about this before. Lice today is not the embarrassment it was when we were kids. And even then, like, it wasn't bad, but like when you were a kid, if somebody had lice in your class, you were like, oh man, like they're dirt bags. Incorrect. Like lice only lives on clean hair. They're actually
clean bags.
Yeah.
They're clean bags.
You got lice? You're clean bag.
They're the cleanest motherfuckers in the class. The fact that you don't have lice tells me that you got your dirty hair.
You a dirt bag.
Because lice, believe it or not, it doesn't like clean hair.
And it has come from somebody else in the class, so there is no shame. So anyways, Cooper had said his head was itchy last week. One comment, I have an itchy head. I'm like, oh, I take a look, don't see anything. Then weekend passes, he's up north with your parents, no mention of itchy head. And then he comes back from school on Tuesday and is like, Mom, my head's really itchy. And I was like, he did say this. Well, looked at his head, little things crawling. Actually, that's not true. I saw little brown dots and I was like, I don't know what these are. So then I quick Googled like, what does lice look like in blonde children? Sure enough, the same thing. So then
in blonde children, lice looks different in brunettes.
No, but I just wanted to make sure that it was like, because Cooper's hair is blonde and I had no idea. I've never dealt with lice before. Yeah, well, so then I went to the bathroom. I don't know if I told you this. It affects
blonde children differently.
I went to the bathroom and because I didn't want to embarrass Cooper. And I was like, oh, honey, like, I think you do have lice. So just 1 second. I went to the bathroom at the door and I was like, like I was freaking out. And then I came out and I was like, okay, we're just going to whip up to the pharmacy because I had to call. And this is what I was going to tell you. The Lice kits, when I went there, we have the best pharmacist. I said, can I explain everything. He's like, yep, this is what you want. He's like, I would also treat potentially your other family members if you need to, but you might have enough in this solution, whatever. I'm like, well, you know what? Can I just grab 2, like, just in case? He was like, well, you don't really need to. And I was like, well, I don't want to come back. Do you know what the bill was for 2 Lice kits?
No.
$92.
Oh.
I'm like, I don't think
Lice
I
is
need
expensive.
the second one. Yeah. So, but it's not as bad as like everyone told me to go to the Lice Squad. That's like $800.
There's a squad?
It's an actual business.
It's like
It's a Lice Squad.
It's like Monsters Incorporated
Yes.
when the kid touches them.
They come to your house. They do the whole like thing for you, and then they treat everybody, and then they tell you like exact steps to like.
We're in the house now. There's contaminations.
100%.
Go.
But the amount of people who recommended the Lice Squad was like astounding. Like they're like, it's worth the money because I guess they also have a guarantee. Like if it comes back within 30 days, they'll come back and just keep treating you until it's fixed.
They'll just shave your head.
Yeah. They're like,
Honestly, so you sent me a text message. I'm at Cheer with Riley.
No. I called you.
Oh, yeah.
And I was
you
like,
called me.
hey.
And so I'm sitting there. And
I know we're still in a fight, but our son has lice.
Yeah, I'm. The fight had continued.
You were like, nothing quite puts the fight on hold than fucking lice.
We're sitting there. I got a flashlight shining on his head as you comb through it like we're looking for the Titanic.
Yeah,
in
I'm like,
straight patterns,
right there.
back and forth, back and forth. Ice bag, straight ahead, lice. And it was like I'm sitting here thinking like I know we're in a fight here. I know this is awkward, but like the fact that we're in the thick of it, pulling out eggs
I know.
out of our son's head. I'm not even mad at you anymore. In fact, I think this is a very solid partnership.
I agree.
Ours.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I think that when we do have our conversation, which I'm hoping can be tonight, it's not going to be as maybe heated as it would have been a couple days ago.
You remember when we got in that huge fight that one time, and like midway through it, my lips were so
we
chapped,
were so
and
fucking
you
mad
happened
at
to be
each other.
you happened to be sitting beside the chapstick. So in the middle of the fight, you're yelling at me. I'm like, can you do me a favor? Can you just get me that chapstick? My lips hurt real bad.
We were speaking like we had gone around the same. I honestly don't even remember what we were fighting about, but it was one of those fights that were like, we could not come to like an agreement. We just kept going in a circle. And so then we were silent and like for quite a long time. And then you were like, can you pass me that chapstick over there?
Yeah.
My lips hurt real bad.
My lips hurt real bad.
And then I was laughing and I was like, fuck you. Like, I'm not ready to laugh. But then we were laughing and I broke the tension. So it was good.
I usually break the tension by saying, you know what, Brittany, I got one thing that I really need to tell you.
Fucking love you, or you look really good right now.
Fucking love you.
I know.
I hate you right now, but god damn it, you look pretty with that shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You would look even better
without
it.
Anyways,
so we should pause. We should pause this fight. We should do a little fucking, and then we should come right back at it. We should go right back at it. So lice is not fun.
No. I will say though, it was a quicker turnaround than I thought. Like he had a small, I guess, infestation is what you would call it, but he was back to school the next day. As long as you can get all of the eggs and they check them at school, like they're good to go. However, people don't talk about the aftermath of lice. Like that's the most annoying part is essentially bleaching and burning your house down because you have to wash literally everything that they have come in contact with. Like he threw his hat that he wore to school like 2 days prior in with all of the other fucking hats. So I had to wash the entire like winter hat selection. And then all of our pillows, all of their stuffed animals are in garbage bags for 2 weeks so that they all die if they're on them. It's a lot.
Here's the thing. I recognize that this is a first world problem that I'm going to have, but I will say this. I didn't realize how much I enjoy pillows.
Oh my God.
And I don't mean like,
we don't have any on the
I don't
couch
mean like
right now?
sleeping pillows, like my sleep spot. I mean like the couch. The other day we were watching,
You look so awkward.
we're watching TV and
At
I always prop a pillow to my left or to my right. And I do a nice little sit and lean. I'm not like a my legs to the ground sitter. I like to sit and lean. I put my legs up. It's very
oh my God, you looked so weird.
It's very like George Costanza in that one photo he took.
Yeah.
But that's how I like to sit. And so we have no pillows on our couch because we had to burn them all.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting at the edge of the couch, leaning forward on like a 47-degree angle.
And you're like, your hands are like on your knees.
I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do.
Like
I'm
watching the show.
I'm like, I hate not having pillows.
At one point, you turned over to me and you're like, I'm sitting really weird.
Yeah, this is really weird. Like, why? Who sits like this? I'll tell you, someone who doesn't have a
Oh
pillow
my
to prop
God.
themselves up with.
It was really funny.
So lice
sucks.
Lice sucks.
It is what it is.
That should be a bumper sticker. Lice sucks.
Yeah.
And all on a side note, not a side note, this is exactly what we're talking about. So to further the conversation, didn't realize that there was a queen lice.
I know.
And if you get the queen, you're good. If you don't get the queen, she fucks shit up.
Yeah, yeah. Because she'll lay, like my friend told me that they didn't get the queen, and then the queen jumped ship to her other daughter, and then fucking laid all her eggs.
Yeah. Then it goes through the whole family.
It was so bad. But then you were like, who does the queen sleep with? Because are all of the rest of them her children? That's what you said to me. And I was like, yeah, she's incestual. Like,
asexual.
I don't know.
You said asexual.
Yeah. No, I was joking. I was like, yeah.
Incestual? Well, that would make sense too.
Because
she
I'm
fucks
like,
her
well,
kids.
in like, I know, but like, I think that I don't know. I actually have no idea. I've never Googled this.
Who impregnates? Not only that,
just
but
like one male lice come along for the ride, and he's like, yeah, like I'll help you out here.
I've come to realize I don't know much about. I don't know much about insects. Like,
okay,
so you have little fruit flies.
Yeah,
where the fuck do they come from?
Fruit.
They come from larvae. And where does larva come from, Jake?
Flies. Yeah.
Dirt and garbage?
Yeah.
They just spawn from dirt and garbage.
Yeah.
They were nothing, and now there's something from dirt and garbage. They've got to be laid eggs.
Well, I don't want to talk about it
from
anymore.
nothing.
It's so gross.
I'm gonna fact check that, guys. This is not a podcast where we tell you exactly how things are, but like, let's question everything. Larva's got to come from something, like a fly or something.
It is. Larva is like fly eggs.
Yeah, so it's got to come from from a fly that got into your garbage or dirt.
Yeah. So I guess.
But where did it come from?
Outside.
But where did that come from?
Yeah, like where? How deep are we going?
No, but like you have no fruit flies.
Yeah, I
no
know.
fruit flies.
It is bizarre.
You come home from the old grocery store. You put your fruits and vegetables
it's like,
in a
do
bowl.
They smell it, and then they're like.
Next thing you know, you got fruit flies.
But we also have those flies that are in our one plant, our birds of paradise plant, that have just all of a sudden just cometh from the dirt. Like it's wild.
I think there's like insects are very fascinating. Oh, true story. I did hear this, and you can fact check this because I'm pretty confident it's accurate. One of the most disgusting things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Do I want to know this?
If you add up every insect that's on the planet, did you know that they weigh more than every animal that's on the planet?
That's wild. Like, because there's just so many.
Think about the size of a fucking elephant.
Yeah, that's wild.
And know that there's herds of elephants, and know that they don't match all of the insects.
It's gross.
We're talking blue whales. We're talking sperm whales. We're talking elephants. We're talking crocodiles.
Let's talk Vegas.
Oh, let's talk Vegas.
So
we went to Vegas.
We did. We went for a wedding.
Vegas
was fucking wild.
A trip.
It was everything that you would expect from a Vegas. I felt like I was in a movie. I'm not going to lie.
Shout out to Annie and Mark for their nuptials. You guys threw
such a party. It was
threw the
so
craziest party I've ever been part of.
Yeah.
I felt throughout the evening that I was
in a movie. Me too. So let's start from the beginning. When Ryan and I got there, we went a day early so that we could see a show.
Oh, we got there a day early so that we could prepare.
Yeah, that's true. We were like,
let's be honest. Let's
pregame. Let's make sure that we have our shit together. We don't want to look like assholes.
We want people to know that we're fun. We used to do this. We used to enjoy this. We used to partake in this. This is us. We can be this again, Brittany. Let's just go a day early to get ready for it.
So
is what we did.
We went out for dinner, and we were talking about. Well, we were just talking about the price of Vegas, but two things that we had a conversation about was, one, when we went out for dinner, I mean, Vegas is expensive, but like we had said, even like, I don't think that you and I will ever be the type of people not to complain within our own like conversation about the price of things. Like, even if we are a cajillionaire, I will never be like, wow, that's not expensive. Like when we went out for dinner, Ryan ordered a steak and it was quite small. But when you ordered it, you were like, yeah, I'll get this. And then she was like, do you want a side? And I'm thinking, do you mean an additional side?
Yeah,
because it's not just a steak and fucking parsley. Like it obviously comes with a side.
Well, I said to her, I said, well, what comes with the steak?
She was like, parsley.
She's like, parsley? I'm like, oh, then yes, I want a side.
So you ordered.
What are my options?
Broccolini. $18
Which is not
US.
broccoli.
US. $18 US for 3 or 4 pieces of broccolini.
No, there was a lot of broccolini. It just didn't taste good.
Oh, it was so bad.
The portion of broccolini was legit. The cost of the broccolini was
I don't think it was legit.
It was legit. There was a lot of broccolini there.
Agree.
I'm not suggesting for a millisecond that there wasn't a lot of broccolini. The broccolini wasn't good.
I think you just said broccolini 16 times.
And the broccolini wasn't good. And the broccolini was very expensive. And broccolini is not broccoli. And I discovered this because we're not, and I'm not saying this is, you don't have to be bougie to go to a bougie restaurant, but we did go to what I would consider a bit of a bougier restaurant.
My pasta was amazing.
Yeah. And my steak was okay.
Yeah.
Like my steak was okay.
But you said like, I would get a steak from the Keg. That is a third of this price, and it tastes better than the steak. Way
better. I would go to the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. Good steaks, good friends. See you tonight. I would do that in a heartbeat over that. Yeah. Hashtag not sponsored.
And then when we went out for dinner at fucking 10:15, which we actually didn't get seated until 10:45.
Great steak.
Did you know? Yes. Did you know that they charged Kyle and Josh $3 to light their drinks on fire?
No.
Yeah. So like on that menu is like Josh a fiery drink.
But Josh did have the never ending gobstopper?
No, it wasn't. He just
what's that term called?
Yeah. The everlasting?
Everlasting gobstopper? What? The
everlasting gobstopper.
He had the everlasting flame.
Because he didn't blow it out.
Yeah. He had the eternal flame of.
But they have these fun drinks. They have fun drinks because their whole thing was fire. Like they had a fire performer there who was like swallowing fire and shit. So they were like, oh, these drinks, they light the fruit on fire that is like soaked in alcohol. It was really cool. Josh literally had his on fire for like 14 minutes. And Kyle was like, man, like, are you going to blow that out? He was like, I thought it would go out on his own. Anyways, they get the bill. $3 American to light it on fire. Like,
which for Americans means $3, but for Canadians it means $4.
Oh, a little bit more than that.
$4.12.
Either way, I love that they advertise the drink as like flamed Laguna or whatever.
Flame on.
And then they're like, but it costs you extra to get it on fire. So then don't call it the flamed Laguna.
Yeah. See, I'm not going back to what I was saying. I'm not a bougie guy. Personally, for me, you can do Vegas and you can do Vegas on a budget. And I would even assert that
it might be fun.
It might be funner to do Vegas on a budget. Now, let's remove the wedding and let's remove the party after the wedding and let's remove the next day from the cost of it. Because that was planned. Annie and Mark did an unbelievable job. And I'd take that over anything I've ever done in my life.
And Top Golf. Like,
but I'm talking when we were by ourselves. You looked so good. I wanted to take you to Cabo Wabos and have tacos. Like that's what I wanted to do.
We did. It was so good that one day.
We went there the next day and that was probably the best meal that we had.
I agree.
But you looked so good. I thought, well, how do we not go somewhere nice? You know, it's been a long time. We're not with our kids. We're in a beautiful restaurant, beautiful hotel. Let's talk about that in a second as well. And again, let's be honest, it's very first world problems that we're going to be talking about here. And I hope that doesn't bother anybody, but like it is what it is. So we're sitting here, we're like, let's go to this beautiful restaurant. Heard nothing but great things about it. And you're right. I will always, you could put $1 billion in my bank account. I'll still say, what the fuck? Why does this cost that? It doesn't need to cost that.
Your drink too. You were like, I just want a Ryan Coke.
Yeah, can I have a Ryan Coke, please?
And I didn't like our server though. She was a little rude. She was like, well, what kind of rye do you want? And you were just like, oh, like, I'm not sure. Just like your house.
Whatever one gets me drunk.
We're looking down. The most inexpensive rye was like
$36 for a Ryan Coke.
Oh my God.
And I'll be honest, not the best Ryan Coke I've ever had.
It was strong as fuck.
It was strong as shit.
It was really strong.
Not as strong as the gummies that we got that night. We did go to a place, it's called Planet 13. It's the largest cannabis store in Vegas.
Is that the night we got pizza?
It is the night we got pizza. Yeah, we
That
went.
pizza was good.
We went and saw the show.
Fixing for another slice.
I'm fixing for another slice of that pizza right there.
You're
We
really
went and
fucked
saw
Opium.
Opium,
Mm-hmm.
which is by Spiegel World. I hope I'm getting that right.
Yeah.
We had seen
Absinthe.
the last time that we were in Vegas, we saw Absinthe, which
So
was the
good.
best show I've ever seen. It was better than Caw, Jake, believe it or
We
not.
saw Caw.
We did see. We did. I
We
took
saw
her back to
again.
Caw.
We saw again.
So, anyways, before we went to this
Wow.
Spiegel World thing, we had decided early on that we were going to go and get some edibles.
Yes.
And we went and we found this lovely, lovely woman who, like, we've talked about this on this show. We do enjoy edibles every once in a while,
Yeah,
but
like
we
Ryan-
are not. We're not into that scene too much. And
But we're not big. Like, I'm not a huge drinker. You're not a huge drinker. Like, I would rather do a small weed gummy and just be giggly over like getting schmammed because I get so sick.
yeah, and I always because it's not my thing. I like to be confident when I talk about things. And then it's like when I get to the border and someone asks me a question and I stumble on my words,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they're gonna think I'm drunk.
Yeah.
Or are they gonna think I stole
Or at
something?
the airport, like, you have anything
Yeah,
on you?
I
No, I
got
don't.
nothing. I got
but
this.
I look like I do.
Yeah, I'm sweating. Sir, we're gonna have to pull you aside. Why? Because you're full of sweat. I'm like, yeah, I'm a little nervous here, okay? So we get to this place. It's Planet 13. This beautiful woman. She looks at me. She knows I'm lost. She knows I don't know what I'm looking for. She's like, "Can I help you, honey?" I'm like, "Yes, you can." I said, "I'm looking for some edibles." She's like, "Oh, let me take you to the edibles." She's like, "Here are all the edibles." She's like, "What you looking for, sweetheart?" I'm like, I just want to laugh with my wife. Like, all I want to do. I want to laugh with my wife tonight. And so she finds this and she's like, "Okay, this is the one that you're going to want." And I say to her, I'm like, "Oh, does this is this indica or stevia?" And she looks at me. She's like, "Oh, sweetheart."
Like, you fucking idiot.
Like, you are an idiot. And so it wasn't stevia. I still don't actually even know what it's called.
Sativa.
Sativa. Well,
Yeah.
it's a very similar
Very
word.
similar.
Very similar word. So
You're like, I
anyways,
don't eat pure sugar. So
we got these gummies and my God, they were fun. We laughed
they were
so hard.
funny.
I
We were
became
cackling.
so in Opium. It's a very intimate setting. So it's
Mhm.
not like
Front row.
it's not like this big like massive
No. It's a
Cirque du Soleil.
It's a circular stage.
Yeah, circular stage. You're
You're
on the
sitting
floor. You're kind of encompassed in this thing. And so we got there. There's nobody there. So we
Yeah.
sat front row. And I'm not saying we sat front row because we're some big shots. We sat front row because there's nobody there.
Yeah.
And so
That was also our tickets. So
and those were our tickets. Yeah. And so, yeah, we didn't steal the seats. So we sit there and the audience gets picked on a little bit. Right.
Yeah.
And so we knew that the audience was going to get picked on, but I got picked on the entire
But it wasn't
time.
picked on. She was like, "I'm gonna suck your dick." Like,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
like
awesome.
you were like you were like she kept calling you daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daddy.
It was good.
Daddy Ryan. She called me
speaking of
Brian
being
one
like-
time and I corrected her and I think it just turned her right on.
Speaking of like
Mhm.
being picked on and having women sit on your lap.
What? Where's this going?
I didn't know if I was gonna tell this story, but I'm gonna fucking tell it. So when we went, the day we got there, we met the entire wedding party and all of the guests. We went to Top Golf. And I was a little bit hungover because we had drunk the night before, so I wasn't really drinking. And we played Top Golf. Annie and Mark, Mark's sister, had
You
like,
didn't play Top Golf. You left our whole
Yeah,
group.
I
We
played
just
for a
sat-
little
It was
bit.
like bowling
I
and
wanted
waiting
to
for
say
the.
hi to everybody.
It was like bowling and everyone's waiting for Brittany's turn. And I'm
You
like, can
took
someone
it.
just hit for Brittany, please?
I was mingling. So, anyways, it was super fun.
We were the last to finish.
6 to 9. This is when it was 6 to 9. So everyone's pretty fucked up at this point. Like, they're drinking, they're having a good time. You had the gummies. I'm not really anything. Like, I am
Oh,
coming
I know where
down.
this story's going.
I'm
I know
coming
exactly where
down
this
from my
story's going.
fucking
Yeah.
gummy.
Yes.
And everyone's like, "Let's go to the strip club." And I'm like, fuck, okay. Like, on any other day where I'm drinking or it's later in the night, I'm like, "Yeah, sure, we'll go to the strip club. Yeah, let's do it." I am sober and it's fucking 9 p.m. in Vegas. Okay. It's still light out. So we go to the strippers. We walk in their staff meeting. Like, it was so uncomfortable. There were so many. The stripper to guest ratio was 8 to 1. I have never seen this many strippers in my whole life. And they were all just sitting there. It was the most bizarre dynamics. So we walked in. The people we were with got a bottle.
Yeah, there were 6 of us. So
It was
probably was a 10 to 1.
Weird. It was so weird.
Yeah.
So
we sit down. Stripper to us.
We sit down. Everybody else is pretty mangled. You're mangled. I'm not. I'm now sober at this point. Okay. Like looking at all of these strippers who are sitting at all of these tables meant for when guests actually arrive. They look so unimpressed. It was so uncomfortable to like see them outside of like, I don't even know. So whatever. Our friends are like, oh, like you've never had a lap dance. And I'm like, no. Do they not buy me a lap dance as I'm fucking dead sober? To not one, but two. So I'm sitting there. This stripper comes over to me. So nice. So nice. She's naked. And she comes up and I'm like, I've never had a lap dance before. I'm so awkward. And she's like, it's okay, honey. Like if I do anything that you don't want me to do, like you just let me know. And I'm like, oh, okay. It's just weird because I'm very sober. So then she's like dancing on me and then starts rubbing my lower back. It feels really nice. Like, honestly, it felt so nice. She was like rubbing my shoulders. And then I'm like, so, like, do you have any kids? Do you have any kids?
Yeah.
She was like, no. I'm like, yeah, I got two. She fucking takes my hands. I'm like on her boobs. I'm like, yeah, I love them. Kids are great. I'm like caressing her. She's like, you can slap my butt. I'm like, you're so kind, but I think I'm okay. It was so uncomfortable.
Brittany gives her like this little tap on her butt.
Yeah, she was like, you can go harder. I was like, I think I'm good. Like, I don't want to disrespect you. She was like, it's fine. Like, I'm fine with it. And I'm like, oh, it was so awkward. And then I'm like, thank you so much for your time.
See, this is the best part about this story. So,
and then they do it again, and then it's her fucking friend who comes over.
Best friend.
She's like, "Oh, that's my best friend." I'm like, and I look at Fraser. I'm like, "Did you fucking do this again?" He was like, "Yeah, like let's get some titties." And I was like, "Oh my god!" And you are so drunk. I looked over as her friend is like, like, yeah, that's my best friend. I look at you, Ryan. You're like this.
Yeah, no. Here's the best part
like,
about this.
So happy.
This is what I love. This is what I love about perspective. Everyone's got one. And in my mind, you were drunk with me.
Dead sober.
Yeah, didn't know that. And so I'm heavily intoxicated by this point. And people in Vegas need to remember that if you're in Vegas,
it doesn't mean that
you're from Vegas. And we're 3 hours different.
Yeah.
So we don't show up at 9 o'clock at night. It's 12 o'clock at night for us. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm coming to the strip club at the end of the night, not at the beginning of the night. And so it wasn't awkward for me. It was very, very awkward for them.
And for me.
But I'm sitting there as this girl's giving you a lap dance. And now you've never had a lap dance before. So you can imagine I've never seen you have a lap dance before. So I'm seeing you have a lap dance. I don't know that you're having this like in-depth conversation with this woman while she's giving you a back massage and talking about all these things.
So uncomfortable.
All I see is this naked woman on top of you. And she turns and looks at me and she says, I think your husband likes this. Because I was looking at her like, oh my God, what is going on here?
I was so uncomfortable. Yeah, he was like, she turned to me. She's like, I think he's really going to want to fuck you later. And I was like, okay.
I don't think he's going to be able to, sweetheart. That's what she said.
No, because we got back to the fucking hotel and you were like, I'm catapult man. I have a video.
Call me catapult man.
Ryan is literally in the bathroom in the hotel room and he's hanging onto the edge of the counter and he's bending down and then catapulting himself up to the mirror this far, like 2 inches from the mirror. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're going to break this fucking counter. And you were like, just call me the catapult man. And like kept doing it. And I was like, go to bed. And you were like, yeah, probably a good idea. Then you went to go to sleep, or so I thought. I'm washing my face. All of a sudden I hear, you know what? Cooper's going to protect Riley when he's older.
Yeah.
I'm like, go to sleep. You are so fucked up. Anyways, I think that we'll have to continue our Vegas like part 2 because I have so much more to say.
Oh, there's so many things in Vegas that happened. We were there for 5 days, which is a long time to be in. Not only 5 days, but our last day we took the red eye. So we were really there for 5 full days of Vegas, which is a lot. There wasn't like a millisecond of us not doing anything.
But we can do a part 2.
We can absolutely do a part 2 because there was some like really cool things that actually happened there.
Absolutely. And we even talk about the wedding and like the surprise part of the wedding.
God,
so
the wedding was a trip.
Okay.
Let's just put it that way.
But time out because I don't want to
TV
get into
time
it.
out. We're not going to get into it. That's fine. We can talk about stuff other times about Vegas.
All right. Sounds good. Meet us at part 2.
Just so you know, Catapult Man started off as a stretch. I was stretching. I was stretching my lats in the sink and pulling myself down.
Literally,
and
the
then
counter was
head,
coming off. The caulking was coming off the counter.
In my head, I thought I've got such a good grip on this countertop right now that I think I can launch myself
through the mirror.
And so I did.
Through the mirror.
No, I stopped myself. But then in my head, I looked over to you, and you were looking at me like I had two heads. And I thought, I got to make this make sense.
And I was like, I guess we're not using one of them tonight.
That's why I had it. And then I do remember I had my teeth in.
Yeah. Your braces.
I had my braces in. My Smile Direct braces, by the way. They're great. I had them in. And because we were a 3-hour gap, it had been additional 3 hours since I had them in.
Yeah.
And they were so tight on me. And the only way I could make it make sense to you was that we're in a different time zone. I'm like, my teeth hurt. And she's like, why? I'm like, because I'm in a different time zone. And my braces hurt because my braces are in Ontario time zone, but I'm here in Vegas time zone, and they really hurt my teeth.
And there's a video.
That's when you told me I needed to go to bed. I'm like, yeah, I'm
gonna send Jake the video of after he said that, because it's just him in the mirror and it's a close up, and you're just going like this. Staring at yourself. It's so funny.
They hurt. Wow.
All right.
We had a whole list of things that we wanted to talk about today.
We talk a lot.
Didn't talk about any of it.
Go to part 2.
Yeah.
Bye.
Part 2 later.
There goes a sight from my soul.